Hello, well today we have Kevin Dizzy, and Kevin has brought out his 1960 Austin Healey Sprite. You want to tell us a little bit about this Sprite?
Sure, Rod. I first bought the car in 1982. I also had a MGA Roadster at the time, and I actually purchased it at kind of started at a Dairy Queen down in Glen Lake, down in the Minneapolis area back in 1982. So we've had the car, my father-in-law owned the car for a while, and we got it back about 10 years ago. And it's a very fun car to drive. It's it's a sports car. It's 1960. Actually manufactured in the UK in 1959, December 1959. They actually didn't title the car until 61, so the title says 61. They didn't title European cars until they were sold in the States here back at that time. And this particular car is totally original. The wheels that are on it are basically they're reproduced, but they are the correct vintage for the car.
Yes. And how about the top?
The top is a factory hard top. It's a removable fiberglass hard top, and it's very easy. One person can take it off, turn it into convertible, and it's even more fun to drive with the top off.
Yes. Now, did this car originally start out in 1958?
This car was produced from 1958 through 1961 over in the UK. And they actually only produced, I think, just a handful of them in 61, but a lot of them are titled as 62s yet.
Okay. And then this one doesn't have roll-up windows. The later version had roll-up windows?
The later version had roll-up windows. This is referred to as the Bug-Eye Sprite, which is the original Sprite that Austin Healey produced. It had curtains, side curtains that fastened in on the doors.
And this is probably the smallest car that we're going to see in production back in 1960. Huh?
That's right. It's also actually the car that kept Austin Healey going. If it wouldn't have been for this car, Austin Healey probably would not have survived. They sold approximately just under 49,000, produced just under 49,000 total of this particular model from 58 through 61.
And were most of them imported into the U.S.?
About 99% of them were imported in the U.S. Very few were sold over in Europe.
Okay. Did they have a cousin at the same time, the MG? Did that come out at the same time, or was that later?
That came out later. That came out. This is what's referred to as the Sprite 1. The Sprite 2 came out in 61, and the Sprite 2 is when the MG started having the MG Midget available.
Well, that's right, and that's when they came out with the roll-up windows.
That's right.
And a little
they didn't come out with the roll-up windows until the third generation of the Sprite, the second generation of the MG Midget.
Okay, and one of the things that I remember having one myself was the starter, the location of the starter, or the starter selector, I suppose. They say a starter button or
it's a
pull cord, or
you button that you push in, and it's located right near the center of the dash. And so you turn the key ignition on, and you have to have that on before you push the starter button before it'll start up.
Okay, and the other thing that I thought was original on these was the turn light selector.
Yes, the turn light selector is basically a toggle switch that's
okay, we'll be looking at that a little bit later here.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of the dash too, and it's just got one indicator light to let you know that it is flashing. You don't know which direction you're flashing, but the toggle tells you which direction you've got.
That tells you. What else can you tell us about this nice little car?
Well, it's like I said originally, it's all original. It's got the original transmission in it. The engine is a 948cc engine, which is, I think it puts out about 48 horsepower. A lot of people that had these cars that have them today will put in a bigger engine out of a newer Sprite, and they'll put a different transmission, and some people even put a 5-speed. This has got a 4-speed manual in it. With a 5-speed transmission, a larger engine, this thing is probably like a Cobra, the power-to-weight ratio. Okay.
Now somebody will ask, well, how fast will it go?
The way it is, it's stock. Right? It's comfortably going down the road 55 miles an hour.
Okay.
You can go 60, but I wouldn't want to push it for very long at 60 miles an hour.
Thanks for being with us today, Kevin.
Well, thanks, Rod.